Hey, fellas, you ever lack that motivation? You tell yourself, I know I need to go to the gym. I need to get a gym membership, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it on Wednesday. And then when Wednesday comes, you still don't do it. I almost fell into that trap today. Before I recorded this video, I almost didn't even work out. I was with my son, and my son doesn't like to go to the kids area at my gym sometimes. And it'll prevent me from getting my workouts in sometimes, and it'll kind of throw off my routine. But I told myself, man, I got these weights. I need to do something. I'm going to do something here at the house, and I'm going to record it too. So I had some lighter weights. I told myself I'm going to hit an upper body today, just get some blood in the muscles. I've already done upper body this week. So I did this high rep, low weight workout today. And, obviously I'm not training for power or anything like that. That's kind of what I'm doing in the gym on my own right now, where I'm training for power, but I don't have the weights to do that at the house. I don't really work out at the house, honestly. But in this video, I want to talk about how body game sharpens your mental game. And this is a perfect example of it. I almost talked myself out of going to the gym today. Well, not going to the gym, getting a workout in. I created a gym for myself. And I told myself I need to do something. And that's what I mean by body game sharpening your mental game. One thing that really stands out to me is that you become more adaptable when you start practicing body game. You start to learn how to roll with the punches. If you're in the gym and somebody's using a certain weight that you need to use, you either wait or you do something else. If somebody's using a bench and all the benches are taken and you trying to hit flat bench, do something else. Go get some dumbbells, right? So body game teaches you to be adaptable. And this sharpens your mental game. This makes you have to learn how to be flexible in life. This carries over, it translates. So anytime, you feel that obstacle, you feel something trying to hold you back or keep you from doing what you know that you need to do, and you got to push through. And I've learned that practicing body game, man, it really teaches structure and routine and follow through game. And it really just overall helps you build a quality relationship with yourself. Like, for example, you see me, I'm doing these bent over rows with no weight. I'm not gonna say no weight, man. I always hear these guys on Mind Pump. If you ever heard of the YouTube channel Mind Pump, they always say, make lightweight heavy or make heavyweight lighter. These are different things that you can do when you're working out, especially when when your body reaches a plateau or something like that, or, you become stagnant. You got to shock your body in a way. And I'm taking advantage of this particular workout because, like I said, I'm trying to be in this power phase right now in the gym currently. So where I'm doing 1 to 6 reps on some of the heavier movements that I'm doing, bent over rows, bench press, things like that. And I had lived in the, 8 to 12 range or 6 to 12. No, it was more like 8 to 12 range for a long time, almost to the point where I got lost in that rep range where I'm like, I need to shake it up a little bit. So I'm going to oscillate and switch over to heavier weight right now. And I'm going to do that for 6 weeks. But then, of course, my routine got thrown off a little bit. But that don't mean that I have to sit on my ass and not do anything. Unfortunately, I don't have heavier weights at the crib. So I just took these lighter weights and I'm like, I'm going to make these heavy. I'm going to slow down the tempo. I'm going to do a shit ton of reps. I get it. When you do a bunch of reps, you're really training for endurance. But it's okay to do that. Especially, if you're just doing one workout in a week, just to get some blood in your muscles, just to be active, to move around, and just like I said, to not be sitting on your ass. So that's what I'm doing. So you can see here, I'm not going to give a whole, commentary on the every workout and stuff like that. This is not necessarily a video that I want people to follow. You know what I'm saying? This is more for motivation. It's more for inspiration. If you find yourself saying that you need to, get something done, that's what I did in this video. I had to get it done, But I did want to talk about in this video, I hope this motivates skinnier dudes. I'm naturally a skinny guy. And I have been working out here consistently for quite some time here. You know, it's been about 7, 8, 9 years, somewhere around in there, consistently. But, you know, being a naturally skinny guy, you can see I'm pretty lean. You know, I've never been a fat dude. I've never been a gigantic dude. But I wanted like that lean dude, that dude that's a hard gainer, you know, an ectomorph, that guy that can't put on no weight. You in your late teens, early 20s, hell, you in your 30s, you got that high metabolism. It's like you just can't ever gain no weight. You know, I want this to be motivation for you. I want this to inspire you that you can put some muscle on your body. You just got to put in the work. You got to be consistent with it. You got to eat. Now, me personally, I don't eat like, you know, 3,500, 4,000 calories a day or anything like that. At one time, I've tried to do that. And just, it's hard to maintain that type of lifestyle. So I've had to come into like acceptance. You know, I'm 41 years old. And this ain't coming from a place of ego or anything like that. But I think I look good to be, you know, 41 years old. And you get to a point when you've been doing this working out for so long, you just start to accept your genes, your genetics, who you are, what your body's capable of. I could try to start cramming in 6 meals in a day or, you know, eating those in-between snacks and doing all that. I've done all that. Like I said, it's a hard life. But I've learned to just kind of own my frame, you know, and just take what I got, take what God gave me, put a little bit of muscle on me, and just go about my business, you know. And like I said, I wanted to motivate those skinnier dudes. I wanted to motivate any dude that needs it. But me naturally being that skinny guy, I know how life is when you're on the skinnier end, when you feel like you're not capable, when you feel like you're weak, when you feel like you get tested more than others. It's because of your frame. It's what your body is saying about you. It's what your physique says. So I want you to know that you can change what your physique says about you. But it's going to take some work. It's going to take some discipline. It's going to take some effort. Speaking of discipline, I was thinking about why us dudes and other people, but you know my channel is targeted towards men, why us dudes lack discipline. You know, and actually how Body Game, you know, really makes you more disciplined. And I was really thinking about this the other day. And I was thinking about how in order to be more disciplined, you have to, it's almost like in order to be disciplined, you have to chase rewards and small rewards. You have to set small goals for yourself. And not to get too sciencey in this video, but I noticed that, say, for example, when you work out and you go to the gym and you get that pump and you leave the gym feeling like $1 million and looking like $1 million from your perspective, right? That's a reward. That's a win for you. And it's almost like once you start experiencing that, once you start getting that pump in the gym, and then you go to the grocery store and you start getting eyes and people looking at you and they staring at you and you're getting like this attention that you never got before. That can almost be like addicting in a way. And that's why it's important to like have that awareness in your life and to have balance in your life. Because anything that hits that dopamine meter for you, which working out does too, it's a healthy way of getting it though. It's a healthy way of building that dopamine and getting those dopamine hits. But it's like anything, it's like you got to be mindful of when your ego comes into play. And this is something I was really thinking about. Like, you know, you get that pump in the gym, you go out into the world starts giving you feedback. And it's what you do with that feedback. You know, are you going to take the feedback and say, yeah, I know I look good. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm the shit. Now, of course, we do want to have that type of element to us, you know, to a degree, but you don't want it to be overinflated, if that makes sense. You don't want your head to get so big that can't nobody tell you nothing. You know, and this brings me back to what I'm saying about discipline. A lot of us lack discipline. We don't stick with things. We don't stick with routine. We get bored with things quick. And it's because we're not giving ourselves those little mini rewards. And it's also another aspect of this is that a lot of us have no discipline. We lack follow through game because it's almost like we're afraid that it's going to take a while to get results. This is another angle of this that I was thinking about. Yeah, when you work out, when you go in the gym, you get a pump, that blood starts, hitting the muscles right. I remember this one YouTuber said, he said, a pump is like a boner for your body. I thought that was the funniest shit. But it's true though. But what I'm saying is that in order to have that like lasting, sustainable muscle to build a quality physique that you carry around every day, right? It takes time to build that. And I think a lot of dudes, they fold under pressure. They buckle. They don't want to stick with things because of the time it takes to achieve something. And this spills over into life in general. This spills over to other aspects of life, not just working out. I give you a little example. I was talking to this younger cat in my job. And if you happen to watch this video, brother, I appreciate you sharing with me. But I asked him, I said, and he's young too. He's like early 20s, like fresh 21. And that's kind of like my target audience who I like to, talk to, who I make this content for, 20s, 30s, even 40s too. But that younger cat that, is trying to find himself, that struggles with getting out of his own way. I asked him, I said, man, what's one thing that you always struggling with, man? What's one thing that is always popping up that just kind of, what's the challenge that you constantly deal with? And initially he said it's a lack of will. He's like, I know I need to like get up. I know I need to go do this. I know I need to do that. But it's like, I just can't push myself to do it. And I was like, would you say would you also say that that's kind of like a lack of motivation? He was like, yep, that's exactly what I would say. And so that got me to thinking, because I was in brainstorming mode, man. I was, I'm a content creator. So I was thinking about video topics and thinking about messages that I could put out here into the world. And, I was thinking about why we lack motivation. And I think this younger generation, not just the younger generation, us older guys too, but the younger people are like conditioned for that quickness. I'm saying, that instant gratification. They're not conditioned to work for it, to wait, to put in the work. Another example that he was telling me, he was like, man, I would love to learn how to play the guitar. He's like, but then I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And he named about 3 things that he was kind of saying it in a way of it being a problem. Like these are more obstacles and more challenges that are keeping me from wanting to play the guitar. And of course, being the guy that I am, solution oriented type of guy, I'm hearing that as those are excuses, man. Those are 3 excuses that you're telling yourself that are keeping you from doing the things that you want to do. Because you don't want to put the work in that it would take for you to become a guitar player. Think about that. If you want to start playing the guitar, if you want to start doing something different, you want to start working out, changing up your lifestyle, that's really what you got to do, is you got to change your lifestyle. You can't keep doing the same things that you've been doing, because those things are what are giving you these results. Those things are what are keeping you where you are. So in order to do new things, to step into a different version of yourself, to change your identity, you got to literally like shift who you are. You have to do things that you have never done before. That's the only way that you're going to get to places that you've never been before. You got to switch it up. So that's really kind of something I was thinking about as far as discipline, motivation, consistency. A lot of us dudes we run away from the learning curve of things. Anything new has a learning curve. Everything in life has a learning curve. If you're trying to do something new, there's a learning curve to it. When I quit drinking 7 years ago, there was a learning curve to it. And I think a lot of us shy away from the learning curve. We don't give ourselves enough of an opportunity, enough time to learn a new habit, to learn a new skill, to get in the gym, to take the time to see your body grow and see how that changes your life, how it changes your life experience. because that's what happens when you start practicing body game. When you get on this body game journey, start lifting some weights, start getting stronger, feeling stronger physically. It's going to make you feel stronger mentally too. Like I said, body game sharpens your mental game. It is a big contributing factor to improving your overall mindset. It's going to strengthen that discipline. It's going to strengthen routine for you and structure. If you never had structure, if you never had routine, if you're kind of scatterbrained all the time, you have no purpose. You wake up late. You go to bed late. You eat shit. Practicing body game is one of those ways that you can create structure for yourself. Because if you want to truly be successful with it, you have to start changing up things. You got to change up what you eat. You got to start getting better sleep. You got to start drinking more water. You can't just be living life how you were living it before. Like I said, you're going to keep getting the same results you were getting before. So if you are truly trying to experience change, then you have to truly change. And I think a lot of us shy away from that. You know, we're like, nah, it would just be easier to stay the same. It would just be easier to stay right here. And if that's you, man, it's unfortunate. But for those other fellas that want to change, that have tried different things and maybe it didn't work for them, but you still are on that path and you know that I want to be the best version of myself. And I know it's going to take work. I know it's going to take effort. If that's you, then book a call with me. I'm a coach and I help men with self-mastery. Because that's what this life is about, man. You can't get to where you want to be if you can't master yourself. If you can't lead yourself. If you can't control your emotions. If you can't say if you can't follow through and do what you say you're going to do. So if that's you and you struggle and you run into those hurdles, then just reach out to me. All right, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.